for another episode of the Coachee Spotlight of the Veteran-Owned Business Network. That's us. Welcome. And we have guests, as you can see. Sometimes we do come up short and not have a guest, and then Eric's my guest. But there's Eric in the background, showing his face. He doesn't get enough credit for all that he does, because he lined you guys up.
Yes, he did.
He lined you up. And not only did he line you up, but we're going to see some pictures later. I understand he took some pictures of some of your work.
Yep.
So, which we...
Oh, and we got a video.
Oh, even a video?
Oh, we got a video.
Oh. So I have to give Eric tons of credit because he does a lot of work during the week that we don't see until we get on this show.
Where I should be sleeping, but no.
Yeah.
Well,
But he's also young and he's strong.
that's
And
why we
he's
have the driver's seats for the car, right? Right, kids? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
So, but anyway, so first, our guest, there's a veteran here somewhere. You're the veteran.
I'm the veteran.
You're the veteran. He's not the veteran,
Correct.
but you're the veteran.
Correct.
Okay. And you served in the
Army.
And you did what job in the Army?
I was a humanter.
Oh, one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a couple in our group.
We do, don't we?
Including Aaron over at Docs, who's part of our group, and me. I'm a humidor. Yeah. So we're all kind of a unique breed, aren't we? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we are. A lot of people don't like us in the Army.
I know. I don't know why.
Yeah, they just don't understand. Well, that's because they're all into computers. See, we're into people.
Oh.
And
then you're gonna love this
Yeah.
because I have a master's in IT.
Oh, you went and ruined it.
Yeah,
You
that's
went
what I do
ruined
now.
it. Oh my gosh, she ruined. She's a traitor to the UMIT profession. I apologize. But, I didn't know that before we got her on the show. I'm just kidding.
Oh, time to go.
Let's go.
She's gone to the dark side. She's gone to the dark side.
Some people would actually say that
Yeah.
because I actually work for endpoint security. So when people on around the world, you see your computer come up on quarantine, 9 times out of 10, you're calling us, hey, why is my system quarantined?
So how long did you serve?
I was only in for 4 years.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
all I did.
I was med boarded. I had an injury in Iraq, and I ended up with 3 ankle surgeries to reconstruct my ankle. And of course, typical Army fashion, you're not healing fast enough, so we're going to med board you. So they med boarded me in 2007, and the swelling finally stopped in like 2010.
Are you getting the proper benefits?
I am.
Okay.
I am.
Okay, good deal.
And I have to give it up to the DAV here in Sierra Vista because they're the ones that walked me through the process, and they made it so much easier. It can be
a nightmare.
Overwhelming when you're trying to do it all by yourself.
Yeah, it can be. Matter of fact, yesterday I had an appointment up in Tucson I was getting tests done. They were giving my results. But anyway, the young lady that when I was done to schedule my next appointment, got to talking to her, and her husband or her dad's a veteran, lives over in Soanita, and he has issues, but he doesn't go to the VA because he's fed up with him.
There's a lot of people
And
that don't go to the
yeah.
VA because they don't. There's a couple of reasons. Either they feel like the VA is not going to help them, or there's the other party, and we both know somebody who fits this category. They don't go to the VA because they feel like they're not entitled to those benefits.
Yeah.
Even though they were
yeah.
honorably discharged or they ETS, they feel like by doing that, they're taking away from somebody else, and they're not.
Yeah. And his was just because of the difficulty working with him. Of course, I informed her about the Warrior Healing Center. And she got very excited. I told her all about it. I go, it's right here in Sierra Vista. They cover Cochise County. You've got to tell your dad, get him in there, have him call me personally, give him my phone number. I will guide him. And she was like, oh my God, thank you so much. Because he needs help, and he will not go to the VA because he's done with them. And I go, no, the Warrior Healing Center will take care of him. So that's where we're at right here.
Yeah.
The Warrior Healing Center. They do so much for veterans. It's not even crazy.
Yeah. They
You know.
even helped me out. I had the opposite ankle. I injured it. I ended up with an avulsion fracture a couple months ago. The Warrior Healing Center helped me out with helping me get a scooter because where I work at, it's like a quarter mile from the vehicle to the office. So
she didn't get the right up.
yeah,
Have a
so they
fun
helped me
little
with a
ride.
scooter so that I wasn't trying to crutch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we got to introduce the non-veteran. Oh, well, I got to introduce your names first of all. So this is Polly Sue.
Yes.
Okay, Webb,
Yes.
and then we have Keith Webb, the non-veteran.
The supporter.
But he's
the cornerstone.
Yes.
The rock that has been my career, and now we're just kind of working each other together.
Exactly. A lot of us veterans have that.
Yeah.
Like Jessica. I done Ruby's Divine Chocolates. So, without her, I probably wouldn't even be here, to be honest. She's the one that pushes me. So, what about you? Is your wife's not a veteran, right?
Yeah, German.
Yes, she is a veteran, or yes,
No,
she's not a
you said
veteran.
yes, she's a non-veteran.
Yeah.
German.
Yeah.
Dependent.
Yeah.
30 years.
So we all have that non-veteran. A lot of us have that non-veteran that supports us.
The one that allows me to live.
So that means Keith.
It's a true story. I mean, let's be real. I'm a deep sleeper. She's a light sleeper. All she's got to do is go onto the sleep apnea machine.
So Keith, you're officially part of the family.
Huh?
Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you, sir.
All right. You're official. There you go. So, okay. So Polly Sue and Keith Webb. And I'm going to tell you what they do now. And I'm going to tell you, I'm kind of jealous because I love to garden. Okay. That's my thing. That's my only hobby. I only have one hobby, and that's gardening. So this is you're going to make me jealous. This is cool. The business is Sunset Water Gardens. Then we're talking water gardens. We're talking fountains, ponds, all that good stuff. This looks like too much fun. You're going to have to first tell me how you got into this, because this is completely different from your degree in IT. Has nothing to do with UMIT, because you're dealing with, so you're going to have to please explain to me how you got into this.
Okay, so I'll go first. So my husband, who has been my backbone and my foundation and my support,
that guy
he's an artist, and he's been an artist since he can remember. He's been drawing, and this man can do airbrush art. He can do wood burning. He can do glass etching. He's done pencil drawings. He has done all kinds of art. And sadly for him, he wasn't able to make a career of it because he kind of got pigeonholed into accounting and logistics for 20 plus years.
Yep.
So
he joined the dark side.
Yeah.
Like, you're just as bad as her. You went from being an artist to joining the dark side and going into accounting. Okay, I'm just teasing you guys, but that's
so when we went to Hawaii for a year, because I had a job that took us to Hawaii. He's from Hawaii. He's from Oahu. And when we came back here, we both missed the water, but we knew that this was where our home was now. We've been here, and it's like a boomerang. Once you leave Sierra Vista, you're coming back.
Yeah, it does seem that way.
We've left and come back 3 times.
And no
Since
water. We don't have
2007.
water. We're in the desert.
Exactly.
We don't have any water.
He's been watching these pond videos. He's been following Aquascape for many years. Specifically, Ralph out of Tucson with Pondscapes AZ.
And that's the pamphlet I got.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
And some of the others. When I knew that, the moment I knew this was what he needed to do to be able to use his artistic creativity in such a way that would benefit himself, me, and others. And that was the moment we had Ralph come down and talk to us about doing a big pond in our backyard. And he started talking to Keith, and that was when I decided it was going to become a business. And I said, well, this is something he needs.
And you built one for yourself first, then.
Yes, he did. Now I'm going
Okay.
to let him explain.
So you built one for
Yeah.
yourself.
So, like Polly said, I've artist since I was a little kid, but unfortunately, it's funny. We both come from military families. I tried to enlist, but I'm deaf in my left ear, so couldn't get a waiver. And father actually was a police officer. So even though artistic ability since I was a little kid, Dad's like, no, you can't go to art. There's no money in art. That's why it's a starving artist. So he's like, you need to go into something more practical. Go into accounting. So that's what I did. So I ended up in supply and that for almost 25, 30 years. And when we got back here, we bought the house that we're currently in, and been wanting to have a large. I grew up around Japanese water gardens, and so really loved koi ponds, and really wanted to build something in the backyard. I was going to originally do it myself, but the scale that I was wanting was really much larger, and so Polly's like, well, whatever you want to do, we'll do that. And what she's not bringing up first is she wanted a pool.
I did. I wanted a rec pond.
Yeah, so she wanted a pool, and she gave up doing that for getting us a pond. So I contacted Aquascape after following them, like she said, for many years, and befriended Ralph. Ralph came down for a consultation, and that was the time that Polly's a lot more, being the human side, she's a lot more outgoing. So, immediately she tells Ralph, she's like, hey, I think my husband will love doing this. How does he get into it?
Yeah.
So, and I'm sitting there,
2
I'm
words.
going, sure. And, ironically enough, Ralph says, hey, start with your house, start building water features at your house. So that's where it started, because it took about 8 months of planning from start to finish before we had our large pond built, because that was 65 tons of boulders. It's about 6,000 gallons of water. It's about 20 by 17, 3 feet deep, 20-foot river and intake bay, and so it's
I got my swim pond.
It's
Wow.
a very large pond, and
You didn't play around.
oh no,
You just went, no, we're gonna build one in our house. We're gonna build one.
And it was one of those where it was a big deal, because Ralph is an artist of the year. He's and there's only Aquascape is the largest pond manufacturer in the world, actually, and there's only 12, 13, I think, artist of the year, and Ralph is one of them. So Polly and I befriended Ralph and Allison. Allison is his wife, and runs their business, Pondscapes AZ, up in Phoenix. Ralph is also a Marine. So
okay.
So he's also a veteran. And so all the four of us just clicked immediately. And once we started, I actually started in the front yard. I built the fountainscape. And then it didn't stop there. The bug hit me so hard.
That was for my birthday.
Yeah, I finished that one for her birthday, and then a couple months later, built a 16-foot long meandering pondless waterfall in the front, and from there it just grew. Aquascape sent Greg Woodstock, who's the owner and CEO of Aquascape, down. They did a vlog out at her house, and from there we just kept building upon that, and say, what was it, about a year and a half ago that we when did we actually start Sunset?
We officially started
November 21.
Yeah, November of 21 was when you had the original name, and then you changed the name in April, I think, or no, February.
So you started right in the heart of COVID.
Yeah. Ironically, water features have ever since COVID, they've just really taken off. A lot of people don't really realize what is available, and especially down here. Linda and her husband used to own Mountain View Koi. They just recently retired, and to travel. And one of the big things, we wanted to bring something here that, Sierra Vista didn't have. These ponds and water features, two things, they're built with, ecosystem in mind, and then also aesthetically, very pleased. We try to make them as natural looking as possible.
Mhm.
And so that's the big thing for us, is bringing something here that people are just not aware that's possible.
Eric, I've already developed my first soapbox. I can't help it. He gave it to me. So you're doing what you love. My soapbox. So, I got a degree in history. What am I doing? I'm working right now on computers, right? So, but it's sad because a lot of people, you grow up and you have a passion, something you love to do, and then we're told either by our parents or by society,
Yeah.
no, you got to do something else,
Right.
and it's kind of sad because when you enjoy what you do, you are good at it. You're naturally going to be good at it because you enjoy it. You have a passion. If you're doing something that it's a difference between work and labor,
Right.
That's
Right?
absolutely.
right? You're working, and then that's bringing you fulfillment and joy and happiness, and you can look back and go, look what I did, versus labor.
Yeah. The excitement to get up in the morning. I'm Paul will tell you, I'm a really early riser. I love getting up in the morning. I mean, I look forward to, my next project. And
Yes.
So he found a way to do it. So that's your lesson out there. If you have a passion, I don't care what it is, something you really enjoy to do. I mean, find a way. He did it. You both found a way to take that passion and make a business out of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a challenge, but don't give up. Don't give. Maybe temporarily you have to do something else until you figure it out, but don't give up.
Yeah.
That's the soapbox tonight.
Agreed.
There we go. Anyway,
I even get to. So one thing I've always enjoyed is writing, and because of the fact that we're doing this, it gives me the opportunity to start compiling articles and blogs on our website, which will be going up on our website in the near future.
Now I got to ask you. So I don't do this, but I do the gardening, and I call it rock placement. My family makes fun of me because I do have big rocks and and then I borders and stuff, and I'm pretty fussy about how I place the rocks.
Sure.
Do the rocks talk to you too?
They say no, you got to put this one here and this one's got to fit with this. Nope, that's the wrong. Am I crazy?
No,
Nope.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
It is important. I call it rock placement. What? Okay. Okay. Look at that face on Eric. Okay.
Just so you know, the rocks do talk, not audibly, but they do talk. So, with him being an artist,
Yeah, it's really funny because the biggest joke in the pond business is the fact that, it's funny. You look at a rock. We just did a actual fountainscape for Mike Zier over at his house.
that's the Friday show.
And it's really funny because the main rock, the rock that I started the whole entire fountainscape with, when I originally, because I go up to Tucson and I actually pick out every individual rock that we use in the business. And so I saw this rock, and this rock just screamed fountainscape. So I actually had that one set aside. It's about a 500-pound rock.
It's huge.
And ironically, that one is what started everything. So everything built
Around that rock.
Yeah, around that rock.
So it's not me. I mean,
It's not just you.
It's how you place the rocks is critical, and how it's going to look at the end. It's like,
Absolutely.
It's a difference between a rock being placed strategically versus
artistic.
just
Setting it there.
setting it there.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it's an art. That's part of the art. I mean, and then you stand back, and sometimes you stand back and go, no, that's not right.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
No, I got to change that.
And I don't know how many times he has stopped and looked at the rock, flipped it over, turned it, put it on its side, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm going to dig out a little bit of the ground first, and then I'm going to flip it back over."
There
And
you
then
go.
boom, there it
you go.
goes.
So
Sometimes you have
I
to
understand.
modify the ground.
I understand this. It's very important. I really do. And I can, well, and I'm not building ponds like this. So that for what you're doing, it's even 10 times more important and critical. That you got rock placement, the art of rock placement. We have now coined a new term, the art of rock placement. And Eric, show Eric's face again. Eric, show your face over there, because he's a doubter. He doesn't. Look at that. Look at that. He's like, oh,
Which is funny. He
these people are
shouldn't be
crazy.
doubting.
Yeah, he's sitting there going, these people are nuts.
He has seen firsthand what we can do.
That's right. That's right. Matter of fact, okay, Eric, I think it's time to take a look. Let's look at some of this work that they've done. You got pictures. Come on. You got pictures. Yeah, Eric's a doubter.
Calm down. I'm getting there.
Okay, he's getting. He's going to be coming, but we'll convert him. He's a believer in the art of rock placement. Very important. Yeah. Oh my. Yeah. Wow.
So you might actually see that particular screen that's right there.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to Big O, or you're at the American Legion here in Sierra Vista, because they have an LED screen up with that up on there.
Okay. Female veteran-owned business. You got it all covered. Yeah.
And thank goodness, because Polly does. I mean, I'm the one in, she's a smart one, so I'm usually the one digging the holes.
Oh, come on. You got to
Yeah.
slow down.
I was gone the wrong direction.
Oh, okay.
It was at the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this, that's on the back page of, those, when you buy a new home or you move into a new
Coach's
house.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get that little Cochise magazine
Yep,
that tells
yep.
you about all the different businesses to help you with getting acclimated to your new environment.
Yep.
Yep, that's where that is.
Yep. And oh, by the way, to mention, we've had how many? 2, 3 real estate agents on this show? How many? 3. We've had 3 that are members of the network. So you guys definitely
Very
need
nice.
to connect, because, if they sell a home to somebody moving into the area and they're like, oh, we'd like to have a nice family in our backyard. Well, I just happen to know somebody.
Well, it's amazing what water, just the sound of water can do from a healing perspective, from a stress perspective. It really just creates a sense of calmness in a visual. We're actually planning on doing a pondless waterfall here at the Warrior Healing Center in the back.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we wanted to give back to veterans, and because it's one of those where it really does make a huge difference for someone, especially anxiety, stress, those types of things.
Now, if you live on a coast, because where the waves are
That
crashing
one there
into
is
the
a
rocks,
memorial.
if you live on the coast, or you got a waterfall nearby, or a beautiful river right, you don't need it.
Yeah,
But we live in
exactly.
Arizona. We don't have any. We don't have any beaches. We don't have any real rivers.
Yeah.
We're lacking the water. Okay, this is.
This one, Keith put this one together. It's a stacked slate curved wall.
Mhm.
It's just a single fountain. This is what somebody might want, that is, they're looking for something to have the sound of water, but not necessarily able to spend the money that it would cost for a pond or something more elaborate. But this is beautiful. It's elegant. It's simple. This was done as a memorial for a realtor
Okay.
here in town. He lost his wife. And this was,
Oh, wow.
this is
That's
what
a
he put up.
unique idea. So that's yeah. I could see where that looks like a memorial. And on this one, the water's not running out. It's just internal.
No, you can see it on the outside there.
It does. So
Yeah, you see right here?
No,
That's the
think-
water
No,
splashing out.
I think he means it's recirculated.
it's
Oh,
recirculating
Yeah.
inside. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, some of it spills out, but it's
Yeah, it sits on top of a basin, and but there's so that we use an aqua basin for that one, and then for larger projects,
Like Mike
we
Zayers.
use like Mike Zayers or like Stephanie's, where there's a larger or larger requirement for a reservoir. We build upon what's called aqua blocks, and the scale and scope just depends on how much water is moving. What people don't realize is there's always water loss and things like that, but these systems are pretty good, especially being out here in Arizona. You know, a lot of people have pools, and that, ironically, we've had a lot of people that would tell me, "Well, I wish I would have known about that before I got my pool, because we don't even go in it anymore."
Yeah, I got one of those that the kids are grown up.
Yeah,
gone.
exactly. Yeah,
The pool, it's work. I got to go out and keep it clean.
yeah.
Who swims in it? Wait, so this one, I really like this one. This one got lights and everything.
Yeah, this was a pond remodel. They had a one of those pre-form ponds, you know, the little black molded ones. And
Yeah, I have one of those.
and it was nice. It was, but it wasn't what they wanted in the long run. And so now they've got this one. This is just a clip of it. I think I have a bigger picture in there.
Well,
of it.
and that's the one thing too, is the original pond was built by a mother and daughter, and you know, the daughters, like you mentioned, you know, daughter's grown, she's moved away, has started her family, and so you know, mom was actually still working on the pond, and unfortunately the rocks that she had in there, she tripped on one, and they were really small, and so finally her husband said, "Okay, no, we're gonna call Keith and Polly, and we're gonna have them come out here and redo it." So
this one here we can see the importance of rock placement, because it's how you got the rocks arranged. I like the fact you got two different kinds of fountains. You got the natural waterfall looking one, and then you've got this smooth round one
that's a spillway bowl.
Yeah, so I like this one a lot, and then the lights too. I mean, that's pretty complex.
Yeah. Lights make a big difference. Lights are considered a luxury item.
Yeah, and that's, you know, you mentioned the complexity. That's the big thing, is there's so much there's so many things that we can do with pond. It's just not just, you know, putting a hole in the ground and a waterfall. We have a lot of options in our house. At our house, we have, like I said, about a 16-foot long pondless waterfall, but within the waterfall, there's a stack slate urn that water comes out of. We have a fire insert, so at times when it's not windy, we put the fire insert in, and we can enjoy a flame while we're listening to the water. And so there's just, it really, there's no limit to what's available to put in.
Now, was it this one with the base of the pond is made out of?
It's a hole in the ground with a liner and rock.
Yeah, so how we,
because it looks, from what I'm seeing, because you know the line, you get those liners, and it's hard in a pond. It's hard to cover them up, and then you got that liner black showing in your pond. But this looks like you got it all hidden.
Yeah. So what happens is, most people, when they build a pond, they build it with just the liner. How we build ponds is, you know, similar. We excavate. We put down geotextile fabric that pads the bottom. We lay the liner down, and then we place another layer of geotextile fabric, and then we put boulder work in, and then also gravel. It serves several purposes. One, when you have just liner and you have water, what happens is there's no weight, and if water seeps from the outside, and you get a lot of
monsoon rain, for instance.
Yeah.
So that soil underneath can actually start pushing up on that liner. So the rock actually helps keep it all in place. So that's one perspective.
And it hides it all.
and it hides it.
So it looks
Also
natural.
protects it from the UV rays from our Arizona sun is
Yeah.
just
Brutal.
brutal.
Yeah.
It destroys everything. And then but it also provides an area for fish to hide. Also, it helps for natural bacteria to proliferate, to grow, and it keeps the water crystal clear.
And the
Yeah.
fish do have to hide. We had a house in Vegas.
Unless we put a
Yeah.
cavern in there for them.
For
which,
something.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Fish
We-
cave.
We had, oh, that's the full thing.
That's the full thing.
So we had a tiny pond, nothing like this, a little pond I put in the backyard in Vegas when we had a house back there. It was the typical, pond by an amateur. But we had some goldfish, right?
Uh-huh.
They kept disappearing. I'm like, where'd the fish go? Where'd the fish go? And I finally realized it was like some kind of big bird. And because I saw him once, it was like either
Probably
a hawk
heron.
or something that was, here we are in the middle of town in Vegas, and this bird was finding food. He's like, oh, there's food.
Yep.
And there was one fish left. That poor guy would not, he wouldn't come out. He was that buried down in the rocks. He was the sole survivor. And he was like, I'm not coming up to the surface for nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was funny. This is the whole thing. Wow, look at that. And then you got the seating area there. The tree was already there.
Mhm.
So you planned around that tree, I
Yep.
take it, to
And it's changed a little bit since then as far as like the landscape around it, because we do just the water feature. On this particular one, they put in a raised bed on the other side as well. So a lot of times what you see isn't the finished work. It's
I like these guys on the side, the cranes.
But one of the things that happens with our customers is the second we put these in, their minds start racing, and it typically grows from this. It becomes a focal point for the customer, and then everything grows around it. And so
I can see that, yeah. You get it in, and then you start on your own going, okay,
absolutely.
I need some more
yeah.
plants over
Yep.
on this side. I need another tree over here.
yeah, and
I
it
need-
usually goes like this.
Yeah.
It's close to the water feature, and then it expands out.
Oh.
Take us, for example. Our yard, we have the big pond. Well, now we have a second pond. We have our garden area. We have our gazebo for dining. We have just literally taken our, and for anybody out there interested in checking it out, we do offer tours essentially of our home
Okay.
where we have
people
a
can see
showroom
options.
set up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so people can see options.
you can see options for a fountain feature, a pondless waterfall, and ponds. We have 2 of them. So
we also, the nice thing is most of our customers are very open to, myself or Polly bringing people over to look at the finished products.
that's another remodel that was done.
Okay. This is someone did a pond, did a decent job, but not quite. Because again, you see the tarp.
Yeah.
That's the worst
There
thing.
was no rock cover protecting the liner.
You don't want to see
It
the
had concrete in the waterfall. What
The
else?
last thing you want to see is the liner. And that's the
Yeah.
problem with I got one of those little black ones you said, not the liner, but what do you call
The preformed molds.
them? Yeah, you get, and they're the way they are, it's almost impossible to
Yeah,
completely
it's
cover
very,
them up.
Very hard.
You can't do it.
Yeah.
You can't do it. And then it becomes a mosquito trap.
And
Yeah.
one of the things that we try to show is, we specialize solely in water features. We don't. I do all the landscaping at our house. However, we don't offer, other than we do plant packages for inside the pond and then outside, but we primarily focus on the water features because there's so much involved in actually creating these features. And what happens a lot of times, we actually just refer people out to other landscaping companies because most of the time, they have so many things that they're working on. It's really hard to specialize in this. So we try to outsource that, have someone else do that work. And that's typically what happened here was.
And I imagine vice versa too. Like if you got a contractor that's doing the landscaping, they want a pond. He's like, okay, I got a lot of work to do. I kind of like a sub.
Yep.
Where you can sub and and do the pond part. He does, they do the rest or whatever.
Yeah, and this one, that one in particular, that whole pond had to actually be shifted. It was right up next to the. If you look at the top one,
Yeah, you moved it all the way over to the wall.
Yeah, to the right. It was right up against the wall, and so we actually shifted it over 3 feet, and made the pond about 3 feet longer and about 4 feet wider, and it was also deeper. So now
And
she's
clearer.
got-
Yeah.
And see, and that's what we call an ecosystem pond.
All right. Next picture.
And we are.
Do we have any more? Oh, there we go.
One thing we haven't
Another
stated yet is the fact that we are certified aquascape contractors. That means that we've been to training in St. Charles, Illinois.
Yeah, mostly the training consists of going to Aquascape Academy, which is an on-site training. They're very stringent. There's a certain amount of builds you have to complete, and then but yeah, and this one here, the before picture, that's a typical fountain that most people have out here in desert landscapes.
And
is
most
the
of them
flower
don't work.
type. Yeah, unfortunately, they're concrete. A lot of them are concrete. So what happens is that concrete, the cold, the heat, constantly, they end up leaking eventually. All of our systems, we use in a 45 mil EPDM liner, which we also use for our ponds, which is also fish safe. This fountain here was two fountains, two of the stacked slate urns, and then another one of those. The bowl is a little deceptive. That bowl is 32 inches wide, so it's a really
wow.
It's a really massive.
This would actually
bowl.
be a better picture if we had a person in there, so you could
So you
see,
can see
how large this stuff is.
The urn on the back end is about it's about 48 inches, so it's about 4 feet tall. The small urn on the right was actually a pot that the customer had, and the small white bowl and the white urn. That was an actual one pot planter that they had, and they really wanted it incorporated, so we cut it. You can't really see on this picture, but it's got notches cut out in the top where it has little fingers of water coming out of it over the top. And
I got a question popped up in my head.
Sure.
I think of questions that maybe people are watching this would think of, and things I think of. So if you got one of them homeowners, especially like that last picture, that made me think of it. Because go back to one more, go back, please, Eric, to the last picture. So obviously you had a homeowner that did all that work previous, right? So he's into doing that stuff, but he didn't quite get it right.
Well, that was a landscaper that did.
Oh, a landscaper.
Yeah.
So
Again, landscapers.
So if you had a homeowner that says, "Hey, I want a really nice pond, but I kind of want to be part of it and do some of the hard work," because the hard work. Will you work with them? Will you? Or is that just not going to work?
Well,
If
the hard part on that is just from the legality aspect of it, just from
And
insurance,
insurance.
insurance purposes,
And the artistic.
and it's
Well, I mean, you do the artistic part, but he's like, "Hey, I don't mind doing some of the digging and moving rock."
That's
Yeah,
the
the-
insurance hazard.
Really? That's a
the
problem?
only that's
Really?
the only
Because they're now working, even though they're not your employee, they're the homeowner.
because
Oh,
if something was that's the sad part,
Really?
because if something, unfortunately,
Wow.
you can have a homeowner that if something happens,
Wow.
they can turn it-
Legalities. Oh my God.
Well, and
it's
that's,
really sad.
That
it
is
has to
sad.
be,
and
But-
but it's also the double-edged sword of us being licensed, bonded, and insured.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's sad because you would think with a homeowner, it'd be different. Yeah. If you go hire somebody to help you, then that's your responsibility. You think that, man.
You
The
know, one
homeowner-
thing that's really funny is some of the customers that have seen the amount of work that's put into this, it's a lot.
Yeah, but I could see where there'd be some people that people that enjoy doing it,
sure,
that
yeah.
would say, "Hey, I'll work with you, and I'll do some of the digging and I'll do this," and but you can't do it. That makes sense. Legality lawyers everywhere. They got to cover everything. Wow, interesting. I didn't think of that. Well, that's why I
You
asked.
can go to the next one.
So that's what you can move on. So that's why I asked. You can't help build your own pond if you're going to have a professional do it.
That
For
was
that
that
reason.
before and after.
Yeah. So, yeah, because there's people out there that try. Again, that those black things don't work. Those prefab, you can't. I've tried. You
They don't
can't.
look natural either.
You can't
Yeah.
find a way to cover them because
Oh,
because
yeah.
they go like this.
Yep.
And a pond has to be more so you can actually spread it out and cover it. And
Yeah,
those
actually,
things.
one of the downsides, the other downside for having a preform like that is because you can't. It's almost impossible to carve into the earth the same form that you have on that. What happens is that leaves pockets underneath, and most homeowners they don't backfill properly, and unfortunately out here we have a major issue with rodents. Rodents will actually dig underneath, even like this one here.
Yeah.
I pulled that thing out and rodents come running out.
Yeah. We won't
So-
even bring up gophers.
Oh, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, gophers are my nightmare. And I actually had to
protection.
make my raised garden because I got tired of gophers ruining my garden. So and I moved all the dirt, built the raised garden with wood and bricks, and took that real thick wiring that's like that, and I
Yeah.
spread all the way to the bottom, nailed it to the top, and then put they don't get in my garden no more.
Yeah. So one thing that we do with
No more.
ponds is like for actually for Mike and Gail's house, what we had done was when we excavated, we used what's called concrete fabric, and so gophers typically go down about 6 to 8 inches, and so this concrete fabric we laid inside and around the excavation site for Mike, and because he's got gopher issues out there, or it works for chipmunks, gophers, squirrels, anything. And what happens is once we lay that fabric in there, we lay our regular fabric, then our liner, we build it the exact same way. What happens is when moisture builds up inside there, that fabric, which is infused, it's almost like, think of like cardboard, but in the perforated areas, there's like Portland cement in there. So what happens once everything is built, just the condensation from inside, or if there's rain or anything like that, it seeps down in there, and then that fabric turns to concrete.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So when
wow.
those gophers try to dig in,
Good
they
luck.
run into that.
They run into a brick wall.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally, they run
Literally.
into a brick wall.
What's that next picture?
Yeah. So yeah, don't waste your money. I hate to say it, but don't waste your money trying to do your own pond with those prefab things. I've done it. We just don't waste your money. Don't it just be a big headache. I still have one in the yard, but it's a Mickey Mouse thing. It's a mosquito collector.
This is a picture from our front. That's the fountain feature that you have in the center there, and you can see off on the left side there is the pondless waterfall with the urn built into it. And it's really nice because at night, if you see that house that's sitting there, when the water is lit up at nighttime, it's almost like it's fire dancing off of the neighbor's house. It flickers just like a candle or a fire would do. It's really nice.
So when you got a customer, then you're doing kind of the initial design concepts. Do you have like catalogs to show them all these different kinds of fountain options?
Yeah. What's really funny, like Mike, when I originally went out there and did a consultation with Mike, it was kind of humorous because I was explaining to him, they really, I show him pictures of different options, and also we have I should have brought the magazines.
I didn't even think
but
about that.
it shows different things that you can have in your pond, and ironically, one of the things that I was trying to explain to him was they really like the idea of having 3 urns, and so I was explaining to him how I would build it, and just there was a couple of other things that I added to it. but Mike and Gail really had a hard time seeing exactly what I see. And
It's hard to visualize what he
Absolutely.
explains.
and so one of the things I explained to, I asked them, I said, well, do you trust me? And and it's really funny because we actually brought them out to our house so they could see several of
Here's the 3.
Yep.
Is this the video you did?
Yes.
and so one thing you don't see is that big large boulder in front of the large urn, that the water, as it's flowing down those urns, it pulls on top of that rock. That rock has an actual, remember I was saying how I saw from the very get-go, the very front of the rock has a lip on it, and the water pulls up on top of the rock, and then it flows around the sides and flows down, almost like a pondless. It's just a one pond, one waterfall pondless in the front.
I think we have pictures as well that I sent you, didn't I?
No.
No?
But so that's one.
Oops.
Wow.
That's one thing that like Mike says all the time. It's like, I listened to you. I heard what you were explaining. He's like, I see it now. Obviously, it's built, but before that, he really couldn't. But thankfully, he's really gelling. I get text messages from him all the time that how much they love the piece, and he gets up in the morning and goes out and
Is there any limit on the size? So
no.
so you might have some people that want a big, nice, huge pond,
Sure.
but then you might some people, they just got a little backyard. You know what? I just want something real simple. You're good.
Oh, absolutely.
You'll take on the little jobs along with the big jobs.
Absolutely.
Okay. Because that's important. Some people are like, oh, I want something, or maybe it's cost too.
Yeah,
They might be like, hey, I can't really afford a lot.
Yeah,
And I want something, even if it's small.
that's primarily the biggest thing. And I tell customers all the time when I go for a consultation, look, the only thing that is going to stop you is two things. Number one is obviously budget, but number two is location. But location doesn't restrict you. We can do, Mike's he's got a lot of property, but there are homes that have a very small space, and we typically the range can typically go from around $4,500, $5,000 all the way up to 500,000.
Well, yeah, whatever. Yeah.
I'm actually going up. I spend a couple of weeks next. Actually, in about a week, I'm heading up to Tucson to help Pondscapes AZ with a project up there, and it's about $140,000 for their project. The gentleman wanted to have his entire front yard to look like his house is sitting on a lake, and he's in a residential neighborhood. So there really isn't. He started out. He had a budget of 10 to 20, and so it's gone much higher. So
Have you been to Fountain Hills? That's where I go to get our gourmet chocolates, our master chocolatier.
Oh.
So Fountain Hills is east of Scottsdale, going up into the hills,
Yeah.
and it's a real artsy fartsy town,
Uh-huh.
pretty high end. I mean, a lot of nice houses
Sure.
there, right? So Fountain Hills is named Fountain Hills. They have supposedly the largest fountain in Arizona or something. I mean, it's huge.
Wow.
So it's a big, huge lake, and they don't have it on all the time. But the times I go and they do have it on, this thing just shoots so far up into the sky,
I can
and it's
imagine.
just so cool. And I was like, okay, that's probably more than a $500,000 pond.
Yeah, there's some projects that are huge.
That one, and then I think of Bellagio too, and that pond. Yeah, you can go as big as you want.
Yeah.
If you got the money, you can have a Bellagio style or a Fountain Hills style fountain in your. If you have the space, you got to have the property. But you don't have to go big. You can do something small if you got a small backyard or a small budget. You can do something smaller, and then have. That's a good
Eric's,
picture.
or that's Mike's.
That's a good picture. Again, how important a rock placement is. I can't get over that, but it's true. the rock placement and the colors of the rocks to go with those vases. I obviously used lighter color rocks to highlight the vases.
Yeah, ironically, in those rocks, it's a Catalina boulder, and ironically, when they get wet, they darken. This one sits just outside the splash zone, so it shows its natural color. But if you look at the one in the center
Yep,
there,
yep.
that's that big one, and it looks a couple of shades darker as it's wet. But the nice thing with these features is that, like Polly and I at our home, we have everything on timers. So, our fountains come on at 6 o'clock in the morning. They turn off at 11. They're usually off during the hot part of the day, and then they come back on at about 3:30 to 4. And it's really nice because the customer can set everything to their preferences.
Right.
So we're pretty conscious, about not running hours all the time.
Yeah, because
except for a pond.
because the pump's running.
Yep.
Plus the water has to be refilled if it's So yeah, if you might just say, hey, I really just want it for the evenings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or weekends I want it on the whole time.
Yep.
The whole day Saturday. Oh wow, the lights.
That's actually a picture that Mike Zaire sent to us.
Yep.
Yeah. He's always sending us
he's
pictures. He is
so
just
funny.
he just loves
Oh
it.
yeah, he's so in love with it.
That's what we enjoy. So I don't know if we've said this yet or not, but one of the advantages is when we see the joy that it brings to someone else,
Absolutely.
that makes all the difference.
Yeah.
Now, the added benefit is it's music to our ears.
Yeah.
And it's always changing.
Mhm.
It changes so constantly. It's never the same. I could sit down and just
Well, no customer
melts
is going
away.
to have the same feature because the rocks really determine how what gets we talked about. So every customer's is custom. So regardless of it, I could do another three urns and it'll look completely different. So
Now, do you do plants as well? So
we
if
do a
I
plant package.
So if I'm one of those people, I want a pond that has lots of plants, including the plants that go in the pond. I want plants around. You can do all that
Yep.
too. Do all the plants too,
Mhm.
or so rocks, plants, fountains, all of it.
Yep.
You can do it all.
Yeah, the only thing we don't do is we don't start to build outside of the feature as far as the landscaping.
Right.
But
But
yeah,
if it's part of the
someone-
pond creation and they
Yeah.
want plants in there, yeah.
it
okay.
does give a nice touch when it's finished. So
And before we run out of time, I just wanted to make sure that I comment. We are going to be donating that pondless waterfall here at the Warrior Healing Center. They are working on putting together the funds to help us with a retaining wall. It's the only thing that we're asking for. So hey, if you're watching this and you want to make a donation to the Warrior Healing Center,
There you go.
there you go.
yeah,
That's what
everything
it'd be
else,
used for.
Where's it
pretty
going to
much-
be? It's going to be on the back
It's
Mhm.
gonna be out
where
the
they,
back.
garden.
where they've done the vegetable garden back there. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, because unfortunately we didn't want to cut into the concrete, so we're actually going to elevate it. Plus they're
Right.
putting in a deck, so we're gonna elevate it so that it's up off the.
No job is too small.
No job's too small, too big. If you want it in the ground, if you want it raised, if you want it on the roof of the house, well, no. Okay, no ponds on the roof of the house. No,
Please.
okay, we're not going to go there. But
That's pushing it.
if you got a swimming pool and you want to accent the swimming pool with a pond in the corner, right?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
We do
You-
have
Imagine your
Glass.
swimming pool with just a little, even a small fountain accenting on the corner or something. How?
yeah, we can make it look where the person can't tell where that water is coming from.
Yeah,
So yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
and actually blend it in with
Yep.
the pool, so it looks like
Absolutely.
they built it that way from the beginning. No,
Exactly.
they
Yeah.
didn't.
Yep.
We added
Without
it later.
concrete.
Okay, exciting stuff. I think what you're doing is fabulous. We live in a desert. Water is a wonderful thing. like you said, I mean, it helps the mind, the body, everything. It gets people outside to enjoy the
Yes,
outside
that's a big
more instead of staying in the house.
And it
You're
gives
like-
an environment for wildlife,
Wildlife,
dragonflies, butterflies,
yeah,
hummingbirds.
hummingbirds. Yep, just lots of possibilities. So don't hesitate. We got the contact information, right?
Mhm.
Somewhere. Yeah, we do.
Yes.
Well, we have somebody replying to the, what's this big note says? What does it
That's
say?
to another one of the,
Oh,
yeah, that was a comment to another one of the
okay.
commenters.
The pondless one is awesome. What? The
From the
pond.
previous pictures.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, got it. Thank you. All right, so contact information for, there we go, sunsetwatergardens.com. Easy to remember. Sunset Water Gardens. And give Polly Sue and Keith a call. Have them come to your house and
Thank you guys for
start.
having us.
You bet. This is, I think what you're doing is fabulous. I mean, like I said, I'm jealous because this is, I mean, I don't know if I could, at my age, could handle the hard work, to be honest, because this stuff's hard work. I mean, you're carrying heavy rocks, you're digging holes in the hard ground, which is not easy here in Arizona where the ground is like concrete and you have to,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you know, when even when I plant a new tree,
Oh,
I
yeah.
dig a little hole and then I soak it. And then I can dig a little deeper and then I soak it. And then I can
Sometimes
dig
that's what he has to do.
Yeah, and you got to keep getting the ground wet further down just to dig maybe that deep.
This ground is up for you.
Yeah, so that's hard work. So first of all, hard work takes artistic ability plus license, insured, all that stuff. You can't go wrong calling these people for any kind of project like this. Yes, you can do it on your own. Good luck with that. Because ask a gardener from experience, trying to build your own little pond in the backyard, going to Home Depot, I shouldn't mention any names, buying stuff from a local store and see if it really turns out nice. You might be disappointed in your own work. I mean, maybe you can't. Maybe there's people out there, I'm sure they can do it and do a good job. But I know from my personal experience, I'd rather have a professional doing it and having it done right and where everything works.
He does pond maintenance too. So
Oh,
if
absolutely.
you have a pond that is this time of year, they're getting algae blooms like
Yeah.
crazy, and you don't want to deal with the muck,
Yeah, I'm
Give
sure
us a
you have
call.
a way to keep mosquitoes out too.
and you
'Cause if
might
you
even
have-
get one of these in your mailbox.
That's the worst thing is if you do a home.
Oh, it's not going to show.
If you do
There you
a
go.
little home pond, you know, and you don't do it quite right, and then the next thing you know, your spouse is saying all you did was create a haven for mosquitoes. And now there's tons of mosquitoes during monsoon season.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, all that water just went in there. It's not circulating. It's just sitting there getting nasty and mosquitoes. Yeah, but you have that covered.
Yep.
You got that covered. Yeah, you don't want a mosquito breeding ground for a pond. You want a system that's going to be clean enough to keep that from happening. And,
Absolutely.
yeah, and gophers. Those things all need to be. They need to be exterminated. I hate gophers.
And two more quick notes before we run out of time.
Okay.
One, the Discovery Gardens here in Sierra Vista on the U of A campus. They're also going to be getting a new pond, I think.
Ooh, nice.
Yep. We're
Yep.
gonna renovate.
And July 1st and 2nd. Make sure you show up for the street fair.
Okay.
So it's going to be back here behind.
I'll be there.
We're
in a
gonna-
second.
Oh, here.
Yep. Yep, on the
When is-
2nd. The
First
2nd
and
of
the 2nd.
July.
Of 1st and 2nd of July, we're having
Yeah.
that here.
She's trying to
How
steal
come
your
I didn't know
thunder,
that?
Eric.
Well, if you'd have showed up to maybe one of the.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Yeah.
Welcome to Eric's Soapbox, where we talk about Rob and his lack of enthusiasm showing up to veteran-owned business every second Tuesday here, right here at the Warrior Healing Center. Thank you. Bye-bye and bye-bye.
Hey, Eric, I won't be here next week. You're on by yourself. Who you got?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I really don't know.
Okay. Well, tune in next week because Eric's going to be on and you know he does a great job.
Replay.
Yeah. So don't miss it. Eric will come up with something. You know he will. And then I'll be back the week after that. So, but thank you for joining us. And you too. Thank you for
It's been
being
a
our
pleasure.
guest. Okay.
We're happy to be here.
And we're then signing off.
As always, by all means, go ahead, like, comment, share this video so that we can get the word out of Sunset Water Gardens as well as every other veteran-owned business. The only way we can get the word out there is with viewers like you.
That sounds so familiar.
The state of Ketones cares. Until then, have a great night and talk to you soon. Goodbye, Travis.